Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk about Dungeons & Dragons, and I want to talk about Planescape, Adventures in the Multiverse, and we're specifically going to talk about the gate town Rigus, R-I-G-U-S, Rigus, and let's get into it. So this gate town, let me describe it to you. So Rigus is specifically a gate town that leads to Archeron. And Archeron is an infinite battlefield. It is a plane, right? One of the material planes. The gate towns each reach out to a material plane that is defined in the 2014 PHB, okay? And this one goes to Archeron. And Archeron is an infinite battlefield, okay? And Rigus is like a military base. It is a tiered hill, right? And this tiered hill is where 6 crowned generals live, and they oversee this gate town of Rigus, and that gate town has a gate that specifically leads to Archeron, the infinite battlefield, right? And now, first of all, I'd love to tell you who the leader is of the crowned generals. They made a mistake, but I'm not going to. And the reason why is they made a mistake on the crown generals in that either list, it says there are 6, right? You either list them all because they're all of equal power, or you list none, right? And they did it weird. They listed 2, but I'm like, if these guys are all of equal power, right? Why are you giving me 2 but not 6? And so it is very it wasn't handled well. And so because I'm like, you're giving me 2 of these crown generals, and what's the point? Because all of them are at the same power base, right? So either give me none and let me define them, or give me all of them and and then I know what they are, right? And what is interesting though is the crown generals they list come from Kryn, which is from the Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen setting, and created by F. Wesley Snyder. And then, I know Margaret Weiss, Tracy Hickman did a little bit of work on Dragonlance. I don't think that matters now. You don't need it because Dragonlance Shadow of the Dragon Queen has completely cleaned that up and made it accessible for modern use rather than a pile of 200, novels that nobody reads. So F. Wesley Snyder is the Dragonlance, is the Dragonlance creator who matters today. Right? I think, and I think, and the reason why I say that is like, Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss, you want to celebrate people who are literally, in legal battle with the people who own their IP. I think the 2 of them completely bobbled, gracefully handling, working with the creators, making sure that their setting was properly handled. This is my take. And then also Forgotten Realms. There's a Forgotten Realms crown general as well, right? But so then you have these 2. You have these crown generals. Let's talk about the gate itself. The gate itself is very interesting. It's not like any other I don't think it's really like any of the other gate towns. It's completely controlled and almost impossible to get to without being detected, right? The Beastlands is like this pool of water in the middle of a glade somewhere. You can just happen upon it, right? And beasts do. They literally just kind of stroll up, right? But this one is in the tiered hill, and it's in a spacious hangar, right? Like in this big open space, right? And it is the gate to Archeron, and there's only 2 ways to get to it. A long tunnel, which would be essentially like a murder hole, right? And so basically, if any forces in Rigus don't want you to get there, you ain't getting there. And then there's an elevator again, which you're not going to be able to just sneak on and off, right? So this is a highly inaccessible gate to Archeron, right? The other thing that's interesting about Rigus is it has this final procession, right? So let's talk about the final procession. The final procession is when there are fallen soldiers, they are honored in the final procession. There's a march that happens in Rigus where their bodies are literally carried, and then they're laid to rest at the final procession, which is this massive reflective wall where their name is literally graven into into the wall, right? And actually, I don't think it's necessary. I don't even think your body has to be there if you were, an upstanding soldier of Rigus. Then you could be listed even if your body wasn't recovered, right? When you fell. And this is a way to honor the soldiers that fall, right? Which is very interesting. The other thing about Rigus is that every single living person in Rigus is absolutely has a rank, a military rank, right? Like, and the place is entirely structured like a military facility. All right, that is Rigus. That's the details from the Planescape Adventures in the Multiverse. I'm going to give you my opinion on it. This is the bog standard worst gate town in this entire book, and I don't think Hasbro D&D Wizards of the Coast designers should have touched this plane. They should have replaced it with something else, something exciting, or something that they had the possibility of writing. Hasbro Dungeons and Dragons it's on the west coast, and it's in Seattle, really. It's in Washington State. It's got that Seattle vibe, that Portland vibe, right? And D&D designers to the last, in my humble opinion, they're Democrats and they're liberal, highly liberal, right? And so this entire Rigus is really, it's political speech. I don't actually think it is even a functional gate town, right? And basically what it is it's the incredibly liberal designers at Hasbro and at the Hasbro Wizards of the Coast designers just making the military industrial complex is bad, right? Like, and I get it, right? We've all heard Tulsi Gabbard, whatever. It's a Tulsi Gabbard echo. The military industrial complex is just trying to make money off of war, blah blah blah, right? The problem is this doesn't actually fit, right? It doesn't make any sense in Dungeons and Dragons, and the reason why is all the rest of the gates and all the rest of the material planes, you can have these things, right? But you can't have infinite war, right? It takes incredible resources to go to war, like World War II, right? I read this story about the Japanese cut down literally 1,000 trees to make 1 pint of oil for their trees, right? It is incredibly devastating to the resources of any culture. I mean, bad, right? Very, very bad. And it's powerful, and you can't burn, and we go to war and then we don't go to war for 20 years, right? Because you can't be at infinite war because it burns resources too quickly, right? So this one, it doesn't make sense economically. It doesn't make sense culturally. It doesn't make sense politically. It's completely impossible. And it was just very lazy, bad design, right? But it also comes from massive ignorance, right? Democrats have no idea what war is or how to use an army. That's why that's why we're in 2 wars right now. We have a Democrat president who displays cowardice to the world, and it invites international violence. And that's how we've gotten into 2 wars, through the cowardice of President Joseph Biden. And that's the issue, right? And Democrats don't even understand. I don't think Democrats can even spell war, right? So none of the designers at Hasbro D&D can spell war. And this is just this very knee-jerk, very lazy political speech of, oh, darn you, industrial complex, how dare you give millions of good jobs to Americans where they can make 6 figures and up. It's just, and it's thoughtless, and it's stupid. It's very bad, lazy design, right? There's no infinite plane. There's no infinite battlefield, right? Because the reality is every culture that goes to war does it for a reason. Nobody goes to war for money. That's a ridiculous. And that's the other thing is, it's just incredibly lazy, incredibly silly, not stupid. I don't want to call them stupid. It's incredibly lazy and incredibly silly, incredibly ignorant political speech based on just the most rank amateur stereotypes and a complete non-understanding of what peace is built from, right? So the reality is nobody at Hasbro D&D had any ability to write this plane, right? And just like SNL tried to get a conservative comedian. They couldn't do it, right? It's the same thing with D&D. They can't get a conservative designer. It's not even possible for them because they can't even spell conservative. It's just, this one I did not like. I guess that's not a secret. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. Do you think it was possible for Hasbro D&D to ever write Rigus? I don't think it's even possible. I don't think they can spell war. I don't think they have any idea what war is for. I don't think they have any idea what a soldier is or what they do. And this Rigus is like, you guys understand skirmish. You understand fantasy battles. You understand a knight slaying a dragon, but you have no idea what war is, right? And Rigus kind of proves it. Every single word of that is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.